Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, June 20th, 2016, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams, in for Kate Chaplinsky, who has the week off. Donald Eng will be along with history and sports in my place, and we'll get you through all the headlines and details, as I said, of this Monday, June 20th, 2016. Let's begin with these headlines now. A motorcyclist has died following a collision with a dump truck on Route 110 Saturday in the second fatal motorcycle crash in Monroe in a 5-day span. A 2011 Harley-Davidson being ridden by 68-year-old Russell Curtis of West Haven was traveling west on Shelton Road when he approached the intersection with Wheeler Road. A 2003 GMC dump-bodied pickup pulling a tractor-trailer north on Wheeler Road entered the intersection and struck Curtis's motorcycle. Wheeler Road has a stop sign where it intersects with Route 110. Curtis was transported to Bridgeport Hospital but died of his injuries. Route 110 was closed for an hour while the initial investigation was conducted. The Monroe Serious Crash Investigation Team is continuing to investigate. Families of victims of the Sandy Hook School massacre are back in court in Bridgeport this morning in their case against the manufacturer, distributor, and seller of the gun used in the 2012 shooting. The two sides will debate whether the gun companies can and should be held responsible for selling a weapon to civilians they claim is meant for the military and law enforcement. In May, a Superior Court judge ruled that the case would move forward despite the gun makers' insistence that they are protected under a federal law that gives the firearms industry immunity against most claims by victims when guns are misused. We'll have an update on tomorrow's coffee break. The U.S. Supreme Court this morning rejected challenges to assault weapons bans in Connecticut and New York. The justices Monday left in place a lower court ruling that upheld laws passed in response to the mass shooting with a semi-automatic weapon at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, according to the Associated Press. The Supreme Court has repeatedly turned away challenges to gun restrictions since two decisions that spelled out the right to a handgun to defend one's own home, according to the AP. Turning now to Congressman Jim Himes, he will be a guest on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah on Comedy Central on Monday to discuss attempts by the House and Senate to bring any form of a gun control bill to a vote. Himes, who represents most of Fairfield County, made headlines last week when he walked off the floor of the House during a moment of silence for the 49 victims of the mass shooting at a gay nightclub in Orlando. Himes staged the walkout, saying in a quote, "Silence won't do anything to prevent gun violence," end quote. Soon after Himes staged his walkout, U.S. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut staged a nearly 15-hour filibuster in the Senate in attempts to bring a vote to the floor to prevent individuals on the terror watch list from being able to purchase automatic weapons. You can see Himes' interview on The Daily Show tonight on Comedy Central at 11 p.m. The town of Easton settled a gender discrimination complaint filed 2 years ago by the Easton Police Department's sole female police officer. Officer Tamara French alleged discrimination due to her gender and retaliation by Easton Police Department members in a lawsuit she filed in June 2014. The lawsuit succeeds a complaint she filed in 2013 with the Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities. She served as the town's canine officer until the police dog program was suspended by former police chief James Candy in 2013 following the illness and retirement of canine officer Chase, French's partner. The Board of Selectmen announced the settlement following an executive session to discuss litigation in the case of French versus Town of Easton at a special board meeting late last week. The board, however, did not release details of the settlement. The First Selectman said that was because it was handled by its insurance company. Said Officer French, quote, "I guess if I had one thing to say about all of this is that I'm thankful for all the support I received from the residents. I felt very lucky to be part of such a caring and supportive community. I am glad to put the past behind me and I look forward to what the future has in store for me," end quote. While at least one resident spoke at the meeting of the need for another canine officer in the heavily wooded town, Police Chief Tim Shaw said that would be decided at a future date. French is the only woman police officer in Easton history. She was hired in 2000 by now retired police officer John Solomon, who assigned her to the K-9 unit. In the lawsuit, she claims she was singled out, quote, for different treatment than the male officers, end quote, while reporting to then Captain James Candy, who became chief in 2011. Candy retired in 2015. A former Darien resident who was a financial and securities advisor has admitted to stealing more than $1.2 million from a client, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. 60-year-old Robert Tricarico, who now lives in Milford, pleaded guilty in Hartford Federal Court to wire fraud related to misappropriation of more than $1 million of an elderly client, this according to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Connecticut. Until 2015, in April, Tricarico was a registered securities broker with the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. He was formerly employed or associated with various financial firms, including R&T Wealth Management, North Star Wealth Partners, LPL Financial, and Wells Fargo Advisors Financial Network. According to court documents and statements, from January 2010 to June 2013, Tricarico acted as a financial advisor for an elderly and infirm victim who had substantial assets. Tricarico misappropriated more than $1.1 million from the victim by writing numerous checks to himself or for his benefit without the victim's authorization. Tricarico also liquidated a coin collection belonging to the victim, and he misappropriated checks made payable to the victim, according to the U.S. Attorney. Tricarico used the stolen money to make personal expenditures, according to court documents. In pleading guilty, Tricarico also admitted that he defrauded two additional victims of $20,000 by falsely representing to them that he would use their investments for a business venture and guaranteed a rate of return. As part of his plea, Tricarico has agreed to pay restitution of more than $1.2 million to the victims of his crime. He is scheduled to be sentenced in September and faces up to 20 years in federal prison. Probably should have a look over at the weather forecast now, but Don's not going to do it. I get to do that today, and we'll talk with Don in a little bit. Don will jump in with history, of course, and sports. It's a beautiful day outside. Sunny and 82 for the high, with a south wind from 7 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, but really as we move into Tuesday morning, increasing clouds and a low around 61. To Tuesday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms staying right around 30%, mainly before 8 tomorrow morning, but mostly sunny. Otherwise, it's going to get hot, a high near 86. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, low 58. Wednesday, mostly sunny and 82. Looking pretty good, although into Thursday, not as great. 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms will drop down to 76 under partly sunny skies. Friday, sunny and 79. Saturday, sunny and 80. And Sunday, sunny and 84 degrees. Gotta like what we see. Shelton, you're at 76. Monroe at 74. And in New Canaan, it is 75 degrees. Eric Gendron directing on the other side. We're back right after this with history and sports on your coffee break on the HAN Network.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well, bank smart, bank local, bank well. With the 24-month Bank Well Smart CD, you can earn 1.35% APY and raise your rate and add to your CD.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 1 million people have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment programming since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to your Monday morning coffee break. I'm Rob Adams. Kate Chaplinsky with the week off. In fact, she is out in parts unknown at this point, enjoying a vacation. But Donald Eng is here. He will have sports in a moment. But first, I'm always a big fan of this part of the program. It is time for History with Don.
It was possibly the most scared a New York City cop has ever been. But first we're going to go to 1787. Oliver Ellsworth of Windsor, Connecticut proposes at the Constitutional Convention to call the government the United States. Now those words had already been used, most notably in the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of Confederation, and in Thomas Paine's American Crisis, but it was Ellsworth's proposal to retain the wording to sustain the emphasis on a federation rather than a single national entity. For the rest of the convention, United States was the official title used to designate the government. 1893, Lizzie Borden acquitted of the murders of her father and stepmother. Despite her acquittal, doubts linger about her guilt. There was plenty of evidence against her, and her statements were wildly contradictory, but the all-male jury concluded the petite woman, a Sunday school teacher no less, was incapable of such brutality. Fun facts though, no bloody clothing was ever found. A few days after the murders, Lizzie was seen burning a dress in her stove, saying she had brushed up against some paint and ruined it. Also, she had attempted to purchase cyanide from a druggist the day before the murders, but the evidence was excluded at her trial because the judge considered it too remote from the time of the crime to have been connected. Oh, and no matter what the nursery rhyme says, her mother was stabbed 19 times, her father 11. 1963, to lessen the threat of an accidental nuclear war, the US and Soviet Union agreed to establish a hotline communication system linking the Pentagon and the Kremlin. Though typically depicted as a red telephone, it was actually never a phone, and no phones were ever used. The first use of it used teletype equipment, then shifted to fax machines. Since 2008, it has been a secure email link. By the way, during the Cold War, the system was tested hourly. The US sent excerpts from Shakespeare and Mark Twain, but not Winnie the Pooh, because the silly old bear of very little brain was considered to be an insult to the Soviet Union, which uses the bear as its national symbol. Finally, now we go to 1975 for this.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
That, of course, the film Jaws, released in the United States, becoming the highest grossing film at that time and starting the trend of the summer blockbuster. It also put self-taught director Steven Spielberg on the map in Hollywood. That's your look back in history for today, June 20th, and I'm Donald Eng.
Well, we're going to need a bigger sportscast now. Don Eng in for me, as a matter of fact, which just seems awkward when we come right down to it. But, you know, Jaws, legendary for sure.
It does seem strange. So Rob is filling in for Kate today, Don filling in for Rob, but I'm filling in for Rob, and Rob's right there. That's just sort of, it is kind of
it's
a bit unusual.
Does it violate the space-time continuum?
I don't think so, because, you know, there has no wormhole opened just now, so I think we're good.
Then again, I'm getting my movie franchises all confused. Anyway, you've got sports. Don is here with it. Let's go.
I do. We start with American Legion Baseball. In the 19 and under division, Greenwich took 2 out of 3 from Trumbull over the weekend. On Saturday, the Cannons, as the Greenwich team is known, and let's be honest, that is the best nickname in American Legion Baseball, won the front end of a doubleheader 6-5 before Trumbull won the back end 4-0. Yesterday, Greenwich's Will DeTesso led off the 10th with an infield single and went to second on an errant throw. Ryan King was safe when his sacrifice bunt turned into a fielder's choice, and with runners on the corners, Trumbull intentionally walked Alex Laparco to load the bases for Eric Minnie, who slugged a first pitch single to right. Connor Langdon pitched into the 7th, being relieved by Leparco and Aaron Schur. Chris O'Brien pitched the first 6 for Trumbull, allowing 3 hits with 3 strikeouts and no walks. Justin Waldick pitched shutout ball for the next 2 frames for Trumbull, an infield hit in the 2nd by Vin DeRubis, and a single to center in the 9th by Dustin Sequeira were the lone hits. Greenwich turned double plays in the 1st and 5th innings to kill Trumbull rallies. Other scores in the 19 and under division: Darien New Canaan 2-0 over Ridgefield, Stamford 12-1 over Westport, and Bridgeport 4, Fairfield 3, Norwalk shut out by Wilton 1-0. In the 17 and under division, Stamford 24-3 over Westport, Fairfield 12-1 over Bridgeport, Ridgefield 10, Darien New Canaan 0. In the Northeast Collegiate Baseball League, the Danbury Westerners beat New Bedford on Saturday 3-2. They're off until tomorrow, when they will travel to play Ocean State. Over to the Atlantic League, the Bluefish were in York, Pennsylvania, as was Rob Adams, I think, where they met the Revolution, came away with a 9-3 victory. Bridgeport put up 4 in the 1st and the 5th to cruise to the win. They open a 3-game series at home with Lancaster tonight. The New Britain Bees fell to the Sugarland Skeeters 9-6 in a 12-inning, 4-hour affair. Patrick Palmero's 2 RBI double in the 12th gave the Skeeters the lead for good. They host the Somerset Patriots tonight. From the affiliate minor leagues, the Hartford Yard Goats went 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position and left the bases loaded in the 9th, losing to the Altoona Curve 3-2. The Goats open up a set with the Richmond Flying Squirrels in Manchester, New Hampshire tomorrow. Joey Haverlick's 3-run homer in the top of the 13th snapped a scoreless tie and led the Connecticut Tigers to a 3-1 New York Penn League extra innings victory in the Vermont Lake Monsters home opener. They play again tonight in Burlington. And finally, from Stratford, the Brakettes rode an offensive onslaught to an 11-3 victory over the Rock Gold Way out of Pennsylvania in the early game Saturday, then lost their first game of the season in the nightcap, dropping a 1-0 decision. The Brakettes fall to 12-1. They are off until Thursday. Rob.
Don, and in full disclosure, folks, before you come at Don with pitchforks, I did not give him pronunciations on Vinny DeRubius and Dustin Sequeira. That's on me. As you were talking, I'm going, oh no, poor Don. I'm so sorry. Never want to do that to a colleague. So anyway, some really good baseball being played around this area, though, and the Greenwich Cannons look really good.
Yeah, I mean, Greenwich High School, I thought, was primed. We're really on the brink of a really good high school baseball season. Tailed off a bit toward the end of the FCX season, but when you get the combined of that talent plus some of the talent that comes back for the 19 and under leagues, American Legion baseball is very high level. That's it's kind of underrated. It flies under the radar because they play in the middle of the afternoons during the week and stuff. But very high level baseball.
And Don and I will continue that and a lot more on Nutmeg Sports a little bit later today at 2 o'clock. And for the all important fact, now Don said York. I was only about 30 miles east of York in Lancaster and Reading. Reading, by the way, one of the most beautiful ballparks in the country. No game though. The Reading Fightin' Phils were out of town for the weekend. But more importantly, in the all-important Adams U.S. Open Mini Golf Championship, after all scores have been adjusted, father beat son by 3 shots.
Really? I was following that on Twitter. It was like I was flipping back and forth, but U.S. Open, Dad's U.S. Open. Did he sign the card before he left the?
We'll continue that on Nutmeg Sports later today. We'll take a break here on your coffee break. We'll have more right after this on the HAN Network.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. New Canaan is 6 minutes down the road. New Canaan's a beautiful little town to walk around. I work in Westport. My commute is 20 minutes. It's close to Westchester where my family is, so the location is ideal. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
At the Language School in Ridgefield, we teach practical language for real life. tailored to your professional needs or those of your children. Offering more than a dozen languages, the school specializes in creating customized classes for businesses, government agencies, and healthcare professionals in Fairfield and Westchester counties. Native speakers from around the world will instruct students of all ages in the language and the culture using a hands-on method. Find out more about what makes us different at thelanguageschoolglobal.com or call us at 203-241-7010.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
What's happening up in Hartford and what's trending in the Nutmeg State?
Join Kate Chaplinsky
And Josh Fisher.
on CT Pulse live Wednesdays at 12:30 to find out.
We talk to the leaders and newsmakers while breaking down the stories you should be paying attention to each week.
With the help of HAN's editorial cartoonist Doug Smith, we take a humorous look at the news of the week. We talk about everything you were told you should avoid bringing up in polite company.
CT Pulse, Wednesdays at 12:30 on the HAN Network.
And a quick note with Kate off this week, we will take this week off from CT Pulse, but again, back next week, so make sure you watch it right here on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams, in for Kate Chaplinsky here on your Monday coffee break, and we continue now with some more local news. The Westport Weston Health District and the Westport Public Library will co-host a presentation regarding mosquito and tick-borne illnesses worldwide in the McManus Room of the library at 7 o'clock tonight. State entomologist Dr. Kirby Stafford of the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station will address the prevalence of such disease throughout the world and the local picture in Connecticut as well as in the United States, and how residents can help to control the spread of disease by controlling mosquitoes and ticks, along with how to avoid being bitten. The Connecticut Agricultural and Experiment Station is one of several state agencies, including the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and the Department of Public Health, working together with the state's Zika virus surveillance and response plan to monitor and provide guidance to community prevention activities. Contact Monica Wheeler, RN, at the Westport Weston Health District at 203-227-9571, extension 242, for further information. After being defeated in February 2014, Trumbull property owner Anand Holdings is set to return to the Planning and Zoning Commission Wednesday the 22nd to discuss a proposed zoning regulation change in the town's professional office overlay zone. The meeting, which will be held at 7 p.m. in Town Hall, will determine if a developed building in the zone of White Plains Road, Churchill Road, and Lower Main Street can join any number of lots in the district together. Currently, the town's zoning laws limit builders to 2 lots. All commissioners voted against the change in February 2014, except Commissioner Fred Garrity Jr., who abstained. You can read more at TrumbullTimes.com. There was hardly a dry eye at St. Gabriel's School in Milford Friday at noon when teachers, staff, and students prepared to walk out of the school's doors for the last time. In the words of one 4th grader, quote, "It's like a funeral," end quote. Parents, students, and teachers learned in January that the school, founded in 1965, would be closing at the end of the school year due to declining enrollment and financial problems. Officials told them in January that the school closure was a parish decision and not one made by the Archdiocese of Hartford. For the calendar year ending December 31st, 2015, St. Gabriel's School had a $111,000 operating deficit, and declining enrollment was making financial woes even worse. Officials said costs to maintain the school had risen, and declining birth rates within the Archdiocese of Hartford suggested continued declining enrollment. On Friday, it was a 4th grader named Taylor who compared the last day of school to a funeral. Taylor and her classmates all raised their hands when asked if they were sad. Many of them, in fact, were crying. Said another student, quote, "This was the best school ever." Another student told the Milford Mirror, The teachers here are equal to my parents. The students are equal to my siblings. Approximately 140 students attended St. Gabriel's School this year, which offered pre-K to 8th grade. School principal Dr. Gail Kingston said about half of those students will go to public schools next year and half will go to different parochial schools in the area, including St. Mary's, the last of what was 3 Catholic grade schools in Milford. You can read more about this and see photos from the last day at St. Gabe's at milfordmirror.com. Moving along on your coffee break now. On this Monday, a resident of Orange was arrested Sunday after Milford police said he led them on a chase, stopped only after his car struck a police car, then he punched an officer in the face. Milford police say they stopped a vehicle for traveling too fast and going through a red light in the area of Old Gate Lane and Woodmont Road. The officers initiated contact with the driver, 25-year-old Frank Bontempo, but after speaking with officers, Bontempo fled the scene in his vehicle. Bontempo's vehicle eventually came to a stop when it struck a police vehicle. When police attempted to arrest him, he punched an officer, police said. The officer was not injured and Bontempo was taken to the hospital for evaluation due to the accident. Bontempo was charged with reckless driving, failure to obey a traffic signal, engaging police in a pursuit, failure to have vehicle insurance, breach of peace, assault on a police officer, and interfering with arrest. Bond set at $15,000. At a presentation ceremony late Saturday afternoon, 100 years after the Cass Gilbert Fountain was installed, the town of Ridgefield was given title to the monument by the Keeler Tavern Museum, once the home of the famed architect Gilbert. Among those at the ceremony at the Routes 35 and 33 junction where the fountain stands were former Ridgefield State Rep Barbara Ireland, who years ago got a bill through the state legislature preventing the state from moving the fountain. Hildy Grobe, Keeler Museum Director, Joel Third, Keeler Museum President, Charlie Palkiner, a Cass Gilbert historian, and Ridgefield First Selectman Rudy Marconi were among those in attendance. Nearly 100 people, in fact, attended the ceremony. An early American proponent of skyscrapers and works like the Woolworth Building, Ridgefielder Cass Gilbert designed many museums and large city libraries, state capitol buildings in Minnesota, Arkansas, and West Virginia, as well as federal architectural icons such as the U.S. Supreme Court building. His public buildings and the locally famous Ridgefield Fountain were in the Beaux Arts style that reflected the optimistic American sense that the nation was heir to Greek democracy, Roman law, and Renaissance humanism. Gilbert lived on Main Street in Ridgefield for many years and could see the fountain, which he designed for the town from his home. Well, when it comes to road trips, Connecticut is likely more of a starting point than a destination. The Nutmeg State ranks in the bottom half of 8 road trip related categories, including attractions, gas prices, nightlife, scenic byways, and more. With 56% of summer travelers driving to their destination and gas prices having increased nearly 40% in the last 4 months, the personal finance websites Wallet Hub and Card Hub just released a pair of reports to help folks find savings along the way. 2016's best and worst states for summer road trips and 2016's best gas credit cards. Wallet Hub's road trip report compared the 50 U.S. states in terms of 21 metrics that speak to each state's sustainability to summer travelers, suitability, to summer travelers, with a dual mandate of fun and frugality. Wallet Hub's data set ranges from average gas prices to the quality of roads to the number of attractions. Compared to the other 49 states, Connecticut as a road trip destination ranked, well, let's say, fairly low, 43rd for attractions among many others, 49th for scenic byways, 47th for average cost of car repairs. It's not a very good note. Firefighters from Engine 4 in Greenwich rescued a rabbit after it became stuck in a fence Saturday in a video shared on Facebook. There's no word of where the rabbit was headed, although I heard something about making a left turn at Albuquerque along the way, or I don't know, maybe taking on the Gas House Gorillas in a game of baseball. Hard to say, but then again, that wasn't Bugs Bunny. A final look at the weather on this Monday, a sunny day with a high near 82. We have a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly after 4 a.m., but increasing clouds and a low of 61. Tuesday, 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms mostly before 8 tomorrow morning. A mostly sunny day, probably going to get sticky, a high near 86. Tuesday night, partly cloudy and 58, sunny and 82 for Wednesday. We move to Thursday, chance of showers and thunderstorms 76. Under partly sunny skies for your high. Friday, 79, Saturday, 80, sunny 84, all under mostly sunny skies. Shelton, you're right here at 76 degrees. Monroe, you're up to 75. New Canaan has joined Shelton at 76. That'll do it for your Monday coffee break. Don and I back for Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock today, right here on the HAN Network. Thanks for joining us. For Kate Czaplinski, I'm Rob Adams. We'll see you tomorrow.